Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Text verse 51 to 53. Buddhaya Vishuddhaya Yukto Satyatmanam Niyamya Cha Shabdadin Vishayam Satyatva Raga Dvesho Vyudasya Cha
Vivikta sevi lagva.
Vivikta Sevi Lagvasti Yata Vakakaya Manasah Dhyana Yoga Paro Nityam Vairagyam Samu Paritaha Ahankaram Balam Darpam Kamam Krodham Parigraham Vimuchya Nirmama Shanto Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate.
Being purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind with determination, giving up the objects of sense gratification, being freed from attachment and hatred, one who lives in a secluded place and who eats little, who controls his body, mind, and power of speech, who is always in trance and who is detached, free from false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and acceptance of material things, free from false proprietorship and peaceful, such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization.
Verse 54. Brahma Bhutaha Prasannatma Nasho Chati Na Kamshati Samaha Sarveshu Bhuteshu Madbhaktim Labte Param.
One who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed towards every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me.
Verse 55. Bhaktaya Manu Abhijanati Yavan Yaschasmi Tatvatah Tato Mam Tatvato Gyatva Vishate Tadarantaram.
One can understand me as I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God.
Verse 56. Sarvakarmani api sada kurvano madhyapashraya mat prasadat avapnoti shashvatam padam jayam.
Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee under my protection reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace.
Verse 57. Etasa sarvakarmani mahi tanasya matparaha buddhi yogya amupashritya vajjitya satatam bhava.
Sorry, what text was that?
Mataji, it was 57.
57, thank you. In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me.
Verse 58. Macchitta sarvadurgani matprasadat tarishyati.
Ataha chetava mahankaran na shoshyasi na vin.
I think somebody needs to mute. I'm not sure. Is it Seema Mataji or Leela? I don't know. So, I'll read it again. Huh? 58. Macchitta sarvadurgani matprasadat tarishyasi atah chetatvam ahankaran nasho yasi vinakshasi.
If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditional life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost.
Verse 59. Yat ahankaram ashritya nayo tasya iti manyase मिथ्यासे व्यवसायस्ते प्रकृतिस्त्वं नियोक्ष्यति.
If you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare.
Verse 60. स्वभावजेन कौन्तेय निबद्धः स्वेन कर्मणा कर्तुं नच्छसि यन्मोहत् करिष्यसि अवसोपितात्.
Under illusion, you are now declining to act according to my direction. But compelled by the work born of your own nature, you will act all the same, O son of Kunti.
Verse 61. ईश्वरः सर्वभूतानां हृदयेशे अर्जुन तिष्ठति ब्रह्मायान् सर्वभूतानि प्रारूढानि मायया.
The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and it is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated on a machine made of material energy.
Verse 62. Tam eva sharanam gaccha sarvabhavena bharata tad prasadat param shanti sthanam prapasyasi shashvatam.
O son of Bharata,
Manu, Prabhu.
there's a really lot of noise.
Was I on mute?
Actually, I'm trying to mute them. So this is my earnest request to everybody who is joining. Please make sure that you're on mute. So please carry on.
Thank you. O son of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace, you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and the eternal abode.
Verse 63. Iti te jnanam akhyatam guhyad guhyataram maya vimrashet deshena yachesi tatha kuru.
Thus I have explained to you knowledge still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully and then do what you wish to do.
Verse 64. Sarvaguhyatamam bhuya shrunu me paramam vachah istosi me dhanmiti tato vakshyami te hitam.
Because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit.
Verse 65. Manmana bhav madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam veshyasi satyam te priti jane priyo sasi me.
Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend.
Verse 66. Sarvadharman paritajya mamekam sharanam vrajah aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami ma shuchah.
Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear.
Verse 67. Idam te natpaskaya na bhaktaya kadachanah na cha shushave vachyam na cha mamyo bhashya shuti.
This confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me.
Verse 68. Ya idam paramam guhyam madbhaktev abhidishyati bhaktim mai paramam kratva mam evasyati asmasyaha asamsanshayah.
For one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me.
नाचा तस्मा मनुष्येषु कश्चिन्मे प्रियकर्तमः भाविता न च मे तस्मात् अन्यायः प्रियतरो भुवि.
There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear.
Verse 70. Adhyeste cha ya imam dharmyam samvadmavayaho jnana yagyena tena hamishtah syami mati me mati.
And I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence.
Verse 71. Shraddhavan anasuyascha shruyad api yo naraha so api muktaha subhalokan prapanyo yat punya karmanam.
And one who listens with faith and without envy becomes free from sinful reactions and attains to the auspicious planets where the pious dwell.
Verse 72. Kaschideta chutam partha tvaye kagrena chetasah kachitagyana sammoha pranasta sate dhananjaya.
O son of Pritha, O conqueror of wealth, have you heard this with an attentive mind? And are your ignorance and illusions now dispelled?
Verse 73. Arjunuvacha nashto moha smritir labdha tvat prasadan mayachyuta stito asmi kata sandeha karishyase vachanam tava.
Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, O fallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt and am prepared to act according to your instructions.
Verse 74. Sanjaya vacha iti aham vasudevasya parthasya cha mahatmana samvadam imam ashrusham adbhutam rom harshanam.
Sanjaya said, Thus I have heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna, and so wonderful is the message that my hair is standing on end.
Text 75. Vyasa prasada chachrutvan etad guhyam aham param yogam yogeshwarat krishnat shakshat kathayatah swayam.
By the mercy of Vyasa, I have heard these most confidential talks directly from the master of all mysticism, Krishna, who was speaking personally to Arjuna.
Text 76. Rajan sansmritya samvadam imam adbhutam keshavarjunayo punyam rashyami cha muhu.
O King, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure being thrilled at every moment.
Verse 77. Tajya sansmritya rupam adbhutam hare vismayo me mahan rajan harshyami cha punah punah.
O King, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoice again and again.
Verse 78. Yatra yogeshwara krishno yatra partho dhanurdharaha tatra shri vijayo bhutir dhruva nitir matir mama.
Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics. Sorry, somebody's comment just came up and it's gone on the text. Could you just roll it up a little bit, please? Thank you.
Mataji, open the chat and close it. Then it will
Okay,
disappear.
no. All right, thank you. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power and morality. That is my opinion. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Om Tat Sat iti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjun Samvade Moksha Sannyasa Yogo Nama Ashtadasho Adhyaya.
Jai, thank you so much, Sandeep Prabhu and Leela Vilashini Mataji. You have read today's verses with so much of love and sweetness. So thank you to both of you. I'll just share my screen. I hope you can see my screen here. Sandeep Prabhu, can you please tell me?
Prabhuji, I can see the same text that I was seeing.
Okay, let me stop share and I share again. Then you can.
I can see you.
Here. Now can we see the verse?
Yes, Prabhuji, 18.73.
That's it. Okay. So today's verse is 73rd verse of chapter 18th of Bhagavad Gita. We will read the verse as well as the translation and transliterations, and then we'll talk about the verse. Arjuna Vacha Nashto Moha Smriti Labdha Tvat Prasadam Ayachita Sthitosmi Gata Sandeha Karishye Vachanam Tava. Arjuna said, "My dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt, and I'm prepared to act according to your instructions." Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The constitutional position of a living entity represented by Arjuna is that he has to act according to the order of the Supreme Lord. He is meant for self-discipline. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that the actual position of the living entity is that of eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. Forgetting this principle, living entity becomes conditioned by material nature, but in serving the Supreme Lord, he becomes the liberated servant of God. Living entity's constitutional position is to be a servitor. He has to serve either illusory Maya or the Supreme Lord. If he serves the Supreme Lord, he is in his normal condition. But if he prefers to serve the illusory, external energy, then certainly he will be in bondage. In illusion, living entity is serving in this material world. He is bound by his lust and desires. Yet, he thinks of himself as the master of the world. This is called illusion. When a person is liberated, his illusion is over, and he voluntarily surrenders unto the Supreme to act according to his desires. The last illusion, the last snare of Maya, to trap the living entity is the proposition that he is God. Living entity thinks that he is no longer a conditioned soul, but God. He is so unintelligent that he does not think that if he were God, then how could he be in doubt? That he does not consider. So that is the last snare of illusion. Actually, to become free from the illusory energy is to understand Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, and agree to act according to his order. The word moha is very important in this verse. Moha refers to that which is opposed to knowledge. Actually, real knowledge is the understanding even every living being is eternally a servitor of the Lord. But instead of thinking oneself in that position, living entity thinks, excuse me, that he is not a servant, that he is the master of this material world, but he wants to lord it over the material nature. That is his illusion. This illusion can be overcome by the mercy of the Lord or by the mercy of a pure devotee. When that illusion is over, one agrees to act in Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is acting according to Krishna's order. A conditioned soul, illusioned by the external energy of the Lord of matter, does not know that Supreme Lord is the master who is full of knowledge and who is the proprietor of everything. Whatever he desires, he can bestow upon his devotees. He is the friend of everyone and is especially inclined to his devotees. He is the controller of this material nature and of all living entities. He is also the controller of inexhaustible time, and he is full of all opulences and all potencies. Supreme Personality of Godhead can even give himself to the devotee. One who does not know him is under the spell of illusion. He does not become a devotee, but a servitor of Maya. Arjun, however, after hearing Bhagavad Gita from Supreme Personality of Godhead, became free from all illusion. He could understand that Krishna was not only his friend, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he understood Krishna factually. So, to study Bhagavad Gita is to understand Krishna factually. When a person is in full knowledge, he naturally surrenders to Krishna. When Arjun understood that it was Krishna's plan to reduce the unnecessary increase of population, he agreed to fight according to Krishna's desire. He again took up his weapons, his arrows and bow, to fight under the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Arjuna Uvacha Nashto Moha Smritirlabdha Tvat Prasadan Mayachyuta Sthitosmi Kat Sandeha Karishye Vachanam Tvaya. Om Agyanam Timrindas Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadamatikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapad Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So it's a beautiful verse that we are going to speak about. In this verse, we are nearing the end of Bhagavad Gita now. It's the 73rd shloka. And by this time, Arjun has been explained of all that he asked to Krishna. There's no question unanswered. And at this point in time, when Krishna has explained him everything, Krishna asked him that whatever I explained to you, have you understood? And Arjuna is responding to that question of Krishna. He's saying, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. And I am now firm and free from doubt. And I'm prepared to do whatever you want me to do, Krishna, because my illusion is gone. So when we read this big lengthy purport, it looks like Srila Prabhupada's expertise is coming into play. We can see how in this one purport alone, if somebody on the street gets this book and he happened to open this verse 73, Srila Prabhupada has packed the entire philosophy of complete Krishna consciousness in this verse here. It's just unbelievable how Srila Prabhupada has explained the constitutional position of living entity, and from there, how he has developed the understanding of how one should be servitor of the Lord and not of himself or his own senses, etc. So one of the words that's emphasized in the purport is illusion, the illusory energy. And it's just unbelievable that whatever level of understanding you may have theoretically about this illusion, but when we come into a consciousness, we are constantly bewildered by this illusion. Even for a moment, this illusion is not leaving us. This illusion is so powerful, so impactful, so involving that one cannot act but be in that illusion. And that illusion is actually arising from the desire to enjoy separately from the Lord. And the reflection, Krishna has explained that the reflection of the spiritual world is material world. And the reflection generally happens on the surface of the water. But what is the reflection surface in this illusory world? That surface is nothing but, that surface is our own desires. When our desires, when the world is reflecting in our material desires, then that becomes an illusion. Illusion as if this is real, as if this is permanent, as if this is happiness. And this illusion is actually the very cause of our bondage, or the desires to enjoy is the very cause of our bondage to this illusion. Now, I was reading this beautiful purport in one of the conversations. Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, so everything is illusion from the beginning of our birth. And that illusion is so strong, it is very difficult to get out of. The whole thing is illusion. Birth is illusion. Body is illusion. Bodily relationship and the country are illusion. The father is illusion. The mother is illusion. The wife is illusion. Children are illusion. Everything is illusion. And we are contacting the illusion, thinking we are very learned, advanced. We are imagining so many things. But as soon as death comes, the actual fact, then we forget everything. We forget our country, we forget our relatives, we forget our wife, children, father, mother. Everything is gone. So this paragraph is so amazing, actually. How Srila Prabhupada is really trying to open eyes of conditioned soul and showing them that, look at the reality, look at the fact. You cannot be this body. Mantra Rurani Maya. It's a yantra. It's a vehicle created by Maya Devi, made of earth, fire, water, air, ether. It's growing, it's dying. And as soon as it dies, everything else which is in relationship with the body also is forgotten. And that doesn't die. The living entity leaves the body, and everything else that's creating illusion is also finished. And you get into the next illusion in the next body. And this goes on and on and on. And this illusion can never be finished. This illusion is actually so powerful that every moment, all living entities, including all of us, in some way or the other, are living this illusion. That by doing this, by doing that, we will become happy in the future. And this is how this illusion expands in the form of starting from the sex life, leading on to the wife, the children, and so on to the country and nations. And that's how Srila Prabhupada always describes this illusion. But as soon as you are off, all the bodily relationships, including the bank balance, the wealth, the home, the health, everything is gone. What are our worries today? How will I maintain myself? How will I maintain my health? These are two major worries a living entity has. And my affection to my near and dear ones, it comes into play. These are the major illusions. And is it right to have these illusions? Or is it not right? That could be one question. Now, this is where Srila Prabhupada is saying, we are imagining so many things. Now, from the eyes of his scriptures, These illusions are simply going to bind us into the bodily form, and nothing much will happen beyond that point. So how do we get out of this? And what are these illusions actually doing to us? In the chapter 8 of Canto 1, Kunti Maharani is approaching Lord, and she's picking up some of these illusions like respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, bodily beauty. And she's telling how these illusions are actually coming in the way in our devotion to the Lord. Janmeshwara Shuta Shibhir Edhamana Madahapuman Naivarhati Abhidhatum Vai Tvam Akinchana Gocharam. My Lord, the Lordship can easily be approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. One who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself with respectable parentage, opulence, education, beauty, cannot approach you with sincere feeling. So the word here is sincere feeling. When we are chanting in the hours of the morning, our chanting will have a lot of sincerity. According to Mother Kunti, if we are not having a high fever of all these so-called material opulences that a living entity is continuously chasing for, knowingly, unknowingly, in the subconscious mind or the conscious mind, living entity tend to believe that if somehow or the other he can get great opulence, good education, etc., he will become happy. And that illusion propels in him a desire to continuously work for the fruits of his activities. And he then therefore depends upon the fruits of his activities. Karma phalam ashritam. He takes the ashray of the fruits of his activities because he believes that all of these so-called opulences of this world, which is actually an expansion of the illusory energy, will give him the pleasure and happiness that he's seeking. Now, the analogy of fever is very good here, because if you're in high fever, you cannot enjoy any kind of food stuff. And if the fever is low, then you can start enjoying. Similarly, if you are intoxicated person here, if you're intoxicated by the material opulences, by mud, pride that is sitting in the heart, it is no way that you can enjoy devotional service. You can enjoy the love of Krishna. So here, Kunti Devi, in Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada is saying, Kunti Devi says that those who are increasing their own intoxication cannot become Krishna conscious. A fully intoxicated person may talk nonsense, and he may be told, my dear brother, you're talking nonsense. Just see, here is your father, here is your mother. But because he is intoxicated, he will not understand, nor will he even care to understand. You see, he will not understand, nor will he even care to understand. Similarly, if a devotee tries to show a materially intoxicated rascal, here is God, rascal will not understand it. Therefore, Kunti Devi says, Tam akinchana gocharam, indicating that to be free from intoxication caused by high birth, opulence, education, beauty is a good qualification. Is a good qualification. Mind devotees, here it is being said that not having these things in such great extent and opulence is a good qualification to reach out to Krishna and then accept him as God. Because those who are intoxicated by this, like a drunkard person, he will not recognize his mother or father, neither he will care to recognize or understand. A living entity, conditioned soul who's intoxicated by the material possessions will not be able to recognize God as his father, God as his enjoyer, and he will be completely in illusion, chasing the goals of life, the objects of the senses, which he believes will give him some pleasure of life. And at the end of that life, ultimately, he will not be able to enjoy them because his enjoyment is limited by the boundaries of time. What will he enjoy instead, or what will he get instead? Now, this is from Nectar of Devotion and Padma Puran. There are sufferings in this material world, and these sufferings are direct reactions of the sinful activities of a past life. Some of these sufferings or reactions will fructify in the future. They have not yet fructified. The effect that is not yet fructified. Then their effect that is lying as seed, that's called bijam, and the previous one is kutam, and the effect that's already mature, and the effect that is almost mature. The effect that is almost mature appear like as a prarabdha karma, and somebody is suffering, which means that those effects are now mature. And how many such seeds are there? It may be as much as the mustard seed in big, sack of, in a big huge sack, uncountable. You can't count the number of stars in the sky. Similarly, you cannot count the reactions which are sitting in the heart of living entity, which at some point in time will fructify, and he's suffering the concomitant results of all these sinful reactions. It has nothing to do with what he's doing now, but people are so illusioned because of the lack of scriptural understanding that they believe that because this person is bad, they conclude that this person is bad, therefore he's hitting me. This person, there is something not right around, and therefore I'm getting this sinful reaction. I haven't got a great job, therefore I'm not getting good money. Srila Prabhupada explains that if you buy a ticket of second-class rail compartment in railways, train tickets, you cannot get into first-class compartment. Your life therefore, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that in your life, whatever you're receiving is a reaction of the previous lives. Pious acts has been done, so you will receive some name, fame, you will receive some opulence. And if impious activities are done, you will not born beautiful, you will not have high education, you will not get enough money, you will be running around the court in hospitals. It's all coming out as a reaction. So having known that all these things are already set in our lives in the form of kutam, bijam, prarabdham, there's hardly anything a living entity can do about it. But he's thinking himself to be the controller. He wants to turn around the whole world and make it favorable, centering himself. Everything should work according to his will and desire. And ultimately, he should be the enjoyer of all those activities. This is how a living conditioned soul is like. So, Vedanand Goswami is asking Prabhupada, and a devotee has no material desires? He wants to serve Krishna, and Prabhupada is saying, yes. And unless one is factually desireless, please read carefully. Prabhupada is saying he cannot be happy. Desireless means material desires. The karmi, the jnani, the yogi, they are full of desires. Therefore, they are unhappy. See? They are unhappy because they are entangled in these desires.
English, mom.
So, when they are so unhappy because of these desires, but they are unable to understand they are unhappy because of the desires. And they keep trying their luck in the material world with something or the other, continuously. Whether they are jnanis, whether they are karmis. Karmis is very simple. I will work hard, I'll get some results. Jnanis, they are the platform of jnana, knowledge. And they feel the satisfaction of knowing the Brahman Jyoti, and they will find some happiness in that. And yogis, they are constantly after the mystic siddhis. These mystic siddhis, they are trying to achieve. Mystic siddhis are of 8 kinds. I hope everybody is able to see my PowerPoint screen now. Or shall I reshare my screen?
Prabhuji, it is visible.
Okay, thank you very much. So these mystic perfections, now for us, it appears that mystic perfection really, Shastra is telling us, yes, they exist, and there are yogis who are still to this date using these kind of mystic siddhis. In Kumbh Mela, Prabhupada was saying that you don't know whose age is what, because so many of these yogis, they enter into the Ganga from Himalayas and they appear out here in the Kumbh Mela. And they look young, but they are very old. Somebody could be 400-year-old, somebody could be 500-year-old. So all these mystic siddhis are there. And for example, Anima Siddhi, one can enter into the stone, become so small. At the same time, you see, materialist scientists, they can also do it. They can penetrate the subways and hills. And therefore, this kind of materialism, what is being shown by these examples of analogies between Anima Siddhi, for example, here in Anima Siddhi saying that I can become small and enter into the stone. That's a subtle way of doing things. But the gross way of doing the same thing is you make a tunnel, you penetrate the hills. So the intention or the desire is the same, that I want to enter into the stone and I want to go across. And this can be achieved either by subtle way, that's the means, or by the material way. But ultimately, they both are the same, materialist, basically. Similarly, you can see Laghima Siddhi. One can enter into the sun planet from the rays of the sunshine. And nobody to this date has made an attempt to enter the sun. But this is one of the siddhis one can achieve, and they can enter into the sun just by the sunshine. Prapti Siddhi, one can acquire anything just by, they can touch the moon actually, and they can acquire anything by just putting their hand anywhere and they will get something in their hand. Now, this can be, you can get some fruit from somewhere. These days, we can just order from the internet and it will come to your home. So we can see that how all these siddhis that we're discussing are achievable and they're very parallel to what material scientists are doing. Also, we can see here, Ishita Siddhi. Now, Ishita Siddhi is destroying a whole planet, destroying the entire planet or creating the entire planet simply at will. We know in Srimad Bhagavatam how Kadamba Muni created the entire planet for Devavati, Mother Devavati. And so we can see that these siddhis are very powerful. And nowadays, scientists, they can just use nuclear weapons and destroy whatever they want to destroy. Therefore, these siddhis are, they are achieved by the science, modern science. Vashita Siddhi, you can just control anybody, bring them into your control, Vashita. And by doing so, you can exploit them, take their money, etc. One can do any of that kind of activity. Prakhamya Siddhi. In this, one can do things which are very mystical. Srila Prabhupada has given this example in Act of Devotion that one can make water enter into the eye and again come out of, that water can again come out from the eyes. So just by his will, he can do all of this. And then Kama Vashayita Siddhi. Kama Vashayita Siddhi. In Prakamya Siddhi, you are doing things which are natural. But in this Kama Vashayita Siddhi, you are doing things which are contradictory to nature, which are impossible to comprehend. So many of these.
See your PowerPoint.
You cannot see my PowerPoint?
Prabhuji, we are seeing the internet screen, the Veda-based screen only.
Oh, sorry, just a second. Okay, initially when I asked, I thought you are able to see. Okay, are you able to see now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So I'll just quickly run through. We have just spoken about these siddhis, so you can see. Yeah, we talked about Anima Siddhi, becomes so small and cross the mountains or the stones. We talked about Laghima Siddhi, that you can just use sun rays as a carrier and you can go to the sun planet. Prapti Siddhi, you can just obtain anything, you can touch the moon, and you can literally acquire anything from anywhere into your hands. And Ishita Siddhi, that you can destroy a planet or create a planet just by your will. Vashita Siddhi, you can control anybody at any point of time. And Prakamya Siddhi, that you can do magical things which are part of the nature, like entering a lot of water into your eye and just that water coming out of your eyes. It's like buckets of water coming out of your eyes. And then Kama Vashayita Siddhi, wherein you do things which are very contradictory to nature. They are not natural. So going back to my screen here, to see my screen with the shloka or the conversations of Prabhupada? If not, I'll reshare. Just
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
okay. Here it is. So Srila Prabhupada is saying here that one has to be factually desireless. So now we understand why these yogis, they're yogis, but they have these desires to acquire Ashtasiddhi, mystic siddhis, which is nothing but they are materialistic, basically, isn't it? After reading that mystic siddhis and understanding them, yogis are compared to the material scientists as much as material science. It's just a subtle way of doing things. And then Srila Prabhupada says, then one wants to, the topmost position of materialism is that one wants to become God himself. And that is the last snare of Maya Devi, because one thinks that he can be the ultimate enjoyer. Right now, I'm definitely the enjoyer, but I'll become ultimate enjoyer by proving myself to be God. Prabhupada is saying, if you are God, then why were you an illusion in the very first place? So the whole premise of assumption or hypothesis that I'll become God is completely destroyed. Now, you see, for a devotee, these things are different. Material world. Here, this is a beautiful, beautiful verse in which it is explained how the knot is there, the knot of heart attachments with the illusion. And when devotees engaged in these, in the devotional service to the Lord, then these waves of sense gratification, they go away from the heart, and the heart is free of these knotted desires. Yadipad pankaj palasha vilasha bhaktaya karmashyam gratitta muddha gratayanti santaha tadvannarikta matayo yatayo apiruddha shroto ganastam aranam bhaj vasudevam. Devotees who are always engaged in the service of the toes of the lotus feet of the Lord can very easily overcome hard knotted desires. Have you tried to open the knot? How difficult it is sometimes, when that knot is very hard and there are multiple threads entangled. You try open them, you will lose your patience. You would rather cut them. Sometimes we do feel these experiences in the material world. Suddenly something is snatched away from us. We feel a pain in our heart. Suddenly some dear one leaves the world. We feel the pain in our heart. That's where you can feel there's a knot. There's a knot of desires to fruitive activities. Because, again it says, because this is very difficult, the non-devotees, who are these non-devotees? The jnanis, the yogis, although trying to stop the waves of sense gratification, they can't do this. Therefore, you're advised to engage in the devotional service of Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. What does devotee do? Most of the time, what are their engagements? Matchitta madgat prana bodhayantaha parasparam katyantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. What does devotee do? Krishna is saying, see, if one says in a relationship between two people, inferior and superior, if somebody says that, oh, I do this and I do that for my Lord, that's one thing. But Krishna is claiming here, he's saying, the thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from enlightening one another and conversing about me. What is the subject matter for the devotees? Krishna. What are they doing all the time? They're enlightening each other. And for such devotees, Krishna is saying that their thoughts are dwelling into me. He's thinking about these devotees all the time. So if we are not doing these activities, if we are not deriving great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening each other in conversing about Krishna, then we are not meeting the expectation of Krishna, where Krishna is also thinking about his pure devotees, you see. This is Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam in chapter 10. You can see this, 4 verses, 8 to 11. Then Krishna further says, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give them I give the understanding by which they can come to me. And how does he give that understanding? Tesham evanukampartham aham agyanam jamtama nashyami atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhashvata. To show them a special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining light of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. You see? And this is exactly what Krishna has done here. What he's saying in 11th verse, he's destroying the darkness born of ignorance. He's exactly doing the same thing here to Arjuna. What is he doing? In this verse that we read today, Arjuna is asking, he destroyed the illusion of Arjuna, and Arjuna is here, he's saying, my illusion is now gone. Similarly, a devotee of the Lord who is constantly thinking, chanting, doing devotional service, talking about Krishna amongst his friends, amongst anybody and everywhere, is constantly thinking about Krishna in his heart. When the anxiety comes, he thinks about Krishna, he catches hold of the lotus feet of Krishna. When he's peaceful, he's charmingly remembering Krishna. When he is very happy and joyous, he's dancing in ecstasy, remembering about Krishna. Such devotees, gradually the illusion will go away. Just like Arjuna is saying that my illusion is now gone. So what has happened? I have regained my memory. It's not he has built some new memory. Krishna consciousness is dormant in the heart. You just regain that Krishna consciousness. You remember that by the mercy of Krishna. He's saying by your mercy. Krishna is saying by my mercy here in this, and Arjuna is saying by your mercy. So you see the devotee and the Lord, they're speaking the same language. And then I'm now firm and free from doubt. I'm prepared to act according to instructions. Because once the illusion is gone, then it is but obvious that one would be able to see the reality. And in that reality, he can see Krishna. He can see how Krishna is acting behind every single thing. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explained the opulences of Krishna. He's the man behind everything that is happening around. And therefore, one who knows the opulences of Krishna, then he can easily surrender to Krishna. So that's the whole crux of this verse today. I would like to invite some questions, and if some comments are there on this verse or related to this class, please, you can all unmute and speak. Thank you very much. Actually, we know that verse, aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvat pravartate iti matva bhajante vam buddhabhava samarpitah. So if one depends on Krishna and learns about the factual information about Krishna, that's the only person who can break this illusion. This illusion otherwise continue on. And at the time of death, it further continues to the next life. But for devotees, it doesn't continue. It will end. It ends when the devotee is within this body. Just like Prabhupada, pure devotee of the Lord, when he was meeting the devotees or the conditioned souls, they could see the reality as Srila Prabhupada was seeing, and therefore they could surrender to the Lord. And today, and the time gone by, they were able to open the eyes of many such wonderful, conditioned souls. Thank you, Mataji, for your comment. If somebody has something to say, please, it's your opportunity. We can.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. It's just a very silly question, but I just want to ask, like, Siddhis, all the yogis go after Siddhis. Obviously, it's all materialistic, you say. Are there any non-materialistic Siddhis where the devotee can go like that, the same intention to get
Yes.
and still?
Devotee can achieve Sarup Siddhi. devotee can achieve his original constitutional position without running after the objects of the senses or the object of the minds. Because devotee does not desire anything but pleasure of Krishna, because in that constitutional position, devotee has no desire but the desire of the Lord, actually. The will of the Lord is the will of the devotee. Therefore, Arjun is saying here, I'm willing to fight now, Krishna, even though I had so many attachments 45 minutes before. Now that I have understood from you all the factual knowledge, I've seen your supreme form. Now, how can I not just act under you as your will? So that will is actually exemplified or actually given to us by our spiritual masters. If we can serve our spiritual masters and their directives, then we are acting on the will of the Lord. And once the spiritual master leave their bodies, they disappear from this world. The same spiritual master is sitting in our heart as Chaitya Guru, and we are taking guidance from them. In this way, we are constantly surrendering. The devotees are the topmost. Krishna has explained, and he has been telling entire Bhagavad Gita everywhere. Devotees are the topmost because they don't know anything but give me pleasure. And therefore, Swarup Siddhi is something that we are after. We get back to our constitutional position of serving the Lord.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Right.
You explained this, regained my memory very well. When you're reading a verse, you wouldn't think that this regain means what is in your heart, it has come out by Krishna's mercy. So that's why we need the association of the devotees to understand the verses much better. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Just clarifying about delusion. Is it all bad delusion? And if so, what about? There was a mention about relationships. All your relationships with people and things around you, or activities, are they illusion? I mean, I'm not sure. Can you please explain a little bit more?
Thank you, Mataji, for that question. Thank you, Mataji, for that question. Actually, Shastra don't mince their word. They come straight and they come deep. Because if Shastra mince their word, then how will a conditioned soul realize the factual information? The fact, it's like seeing a dream. You are in a dream and you create these relationships in the dream. You create this whole, a lifestyle in the dream. You can create so many things in the dream. But when you wake up, does that exist? You must have experienced it for a while, but nothing exists. It was a dream. It was an illusion. The analogy is given that when you die, at that point in time, you will forget everything. The entire life that you have lived comes across as a flash of moments in front of your eyes, and that's gone actually. And the feeling one gets is that he was in a dream state. He was seeing a dream because nothing is now visible. Nothing is visible. Even if our past, we look at our distant past, it's not visible anymore, but it's just sitting in a memory somewhere as a memory, as a remembrance. Now, it's slightly illusory because it's the past is not the present. The future will never be the present. The present just goes by. Hence, this dimension of time plays so powerfully on us. And therefore, Shastra is saying that your birth is illusion. Because the moment you take a body of a human being or of animal body, of all any 4.5 million species body, you are completely influenced by the illusion of the body. Now, you are not the body. The very fact that you are not the body and you are in this body is an illusion, and you believe that you are this body, that's the very first illusion. The very self-identity is illusion. What to talk about anything else? Now, starting from this illusion, anything else which is related to this big illusion is also illusion. Ultimately, which is related to your body is also another body is related to this body, and by producing more bodies, and all of that is therefore a big, massive illusion. You're part of it, and you're playing your role very well as an actor in that illusion. Ultimately, when you die, this will become like a dream, but you're living it as if it is factual, as if it is real. You're making your goals, you're driving. Therefore, when one comes to the platform, Brahma Bhuta Prasanna Nasochati na Kankshati, when one comes to the platform of Brahma Bhuta, one realizes the Supreme. At that point in time, it's like a coconut. Coconut inside is not attached to the coconut outside when it's mature. Similarly, a conditioned soul, the power of devotion, when he becomes realized soul, he's no more attached to this body. Then at that moment, his illusion finishes with his own body. He understands I am the soul, and therefore anything that is related to that body, whether it's father, mother, children, wealth, opulences, name, fame, everything destroys. And that illusion finishes. And therefore, Shastra is saying that you are living illusion. All these relationships are illusion. Because when you become a self-realized soul, when you will become known that you are not this body, you realize it, you will come out of that illusion of your own body, and anything that is connected to this body, which is an illusion, will also go away. From that point of view, this is all an illusion.
Absolutely make a lot of sense. But Prabhuji, does that mean we have to sort of adapt an attitude of separateness from early, separateness, not to be attached to things and people?
Right, Mataji. My answer to that question could be another question. Can we really do that artificially?
We can't.
We cannot. Therefore, even to make attempt is a foolishness. Therefore, Krishna is saying that just remember me, just come closer to me, and just serve me, just do devotion service. And that by the power of devotion service, all of this tight knot of illusion will gradually slacken away. And these material modes of nature, which are playing so hard for us to believe that whatever we are working and we are in this illusion, it will gradually slacken away. And in due course of time, we will become naturally free from illusion. At that point in time, we'll not have to force ourselves. It will not be painful. For Srila Prabhupada, was it painful to take sannyas? No, it wasn't. It was natural for him to do what his master wanted him to do. So at that point in time, all other association that was with his body, he closed those associations and opened up a whole new chapter in his life. Was it painful for him to forget about those associations? It didn't look like. He just opened a new chapter of life on a project of delivering the conditioned souls. So these examples, there are many such examples, but I do talk about Srila Prabhupada because he is the example in front of us. And in that state, you will not have to artificially, you see, Panditaha Samdarshaniya, you will see everybody like your own. You will not just be favorable to your son, daughter, mother, father, this, that, and the other. You will believe everybody likes, equanimity will come. What Krishna is talking about, devotee always have this equanimity disposition towards others. That's the bhav that will come in the heart. That's the sense that will come. And it will not be difficult. So artificially trying to do it, it's not the process. However hard we try,
yes,
thinking about that person.
yes,
he's not meditating, and then he was asked.
It's not genuinely sincere. It's difficult. You can't. We're not conditioned. We are not born in that kind of life, and so it's hard to escape it. Yes.
In the meditation, somebody asked, "Don't think about the purple monkeys." And all the time in the meditation, that guy was imagining these purple monkeys. So the philosophy of not is not very powerful, because the moment you do not, you will, in your mind, will attach, because not is not looked off. The thing that you're trying to avoid, you'll be attached to that more because you're contemplating about it.
Yeah.
Therefore, we have to focus on what to do, yeses in our lives. We chant, we offer prashadam, we do devotional service, we do association, we chant holy names, we read scriptures, we follow Ekadashis, we do so many positive things. By just doing that in due course of time, everything will, just like trees shed off their leaf. Is it painful when they're shedding off their leaf? No. In the autumn, they'll shed off their leaves automatically. Similarly, we shed off all such illusions by the power of devotional service. Devotional service can burn any amount of fuel you put in, it will be all burned and consumed. Just like the snakes in the forest, they are burned in the forest fire completely. Nectar of Devotion explains similarly, devotional service will burn all our attachments completely. It will not be painful at that point.
Hare Krishna, very nice. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay, dear devotees, if there are more questions, I'm okay to take, but if there is none, it's 8:50.
Prabhuji, you
Yes.
mentioned devotional service will burn away everything. One question, Prabhuji, like, so if we chant a lot, that is also devotional service, Prabhuji? Or is it like
the
going
highest devotional service? Chanting of the holy names of the Lord is the highest devotional service. It is directly entering into your heart, most powerful devotional service, because you're serving the Lord with your tongue, with your intelligence, with your senses, and the entire process of Cheto Darpan Marjanam happens in your heart. You get rid of all the anarthas. So most powerful. But devotional service, the chanting has to be done without offenses, and it has to be done in the process of complete attention. Then it will bear its results. Yes. And Shubhada, it's all auspicious. Devotional service, specifically chanting of the holy names, has the power to burn the entire go down of the reaction sitting in the heart, even in the form of kutam, which means they are not fructified yet. They are just present to get the right opportunity to get fructified. Bijam, kutam, prarabdham. Prarabdham is also, it kinds of, the manifested ones also becomes less, it becomes easier to cross them also. You can tolerate them. So this way, devotional service, specifically chanting of the holy names of the Lord, is the most powerful. But we are unable to chant constantly. Therefore, other angas of bhakti are there. Once we engage our senses, other senses also, through the other kind of devotional service like reading, hearing, using our senses in the service of the Lord, in the service of the devotees, in the projects that are helping the society to come out of this illusion, all of that, then we are engaged in by all our senses, and in due course of time, because we will be doing no nama abhas, our chanting will be purified, that will bear good results. Because conditioned souls, their mind is flickering. They can't be concentrating on chanting 24/7. Prabhupada asked initially, chant 64 rounds. Devotees could not do that. 36 could not do that. 32. Then he came to 16. And he said, no, 16 is the minimum you have to do it. So the point is that, yes, it is the most powerful, but because we are not yet trained, our minds are not trained so, therefore, a fixed round is necessary. If we chant our fixed rounds, on top of that, whatever we do is great. But if we think of chanting, let's say, like Srila Haridas Thakur is chanting, almost 22 hours a day, if we think initially to do that, we'll not be able to maintain it. Our enthusiasm will be dampened after some time. We'll be discouraged. Therefore, it's best to practice certain rounds, prescribed rounds in the morning hours if possible. And then we do our devotional services. And then whenever we get an opportunity, we chant more rounds, no problem. But we never should go down a prescribed number of rounds that we have decided about ourselves. That's the way to methodologically and to organically grow our devotional life.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, I just wanted to ask you, we were just talking about chanting the rounds. Like for the new devotees, when we chant, how do we focus on Krishna, like on his form or the way he is like almighty and all powerful, or how? I mean, sometimes I find it that I'm chanting Hare Krishna, but why I'm chanting and the different questions comes into my mind. So how do I focus on the
Very good
words? Please
question,
tell
Mataji.
me.
Very good question. And this is not just the new devotees, the old devotees, the trained devotees, the 40 years chanter devotees. Everybody goes through the same question all the time. So, Mataji, I just want to draw an analogy here. Let's say a husband comes home, and let's say that their wife has cooked very nice prasad, and unfortunately the TV is on, and husband is looking at the television and eating prasadam. And after some time, the wife asks, "So how was the dishes?" And so, "Oh, I it was good, great." No, no, but what did you like? Um, what, I can't say. Why? Oh, sorry, I was so engrossed in the television. So you see, one of my sense, which is tongue, is tasting something. It's nice, and my palate, my belly is getting filled, and a whole satisfaction is coming. But I'm not able to really taste or define the taste. Reason being, the mind is completely occupied somewhere else. Mind is so powerful. It is the most powerful sense that we have. And if it is not deployed in that activity, it will not be purified. It will not register the impact of that activity. Similarly, the chanting is actually to purify the mind. Our mind is a reservoir of desires, and these desires are right now impure because they want to enjoy the material nature. Now we have to purify the mind. The medicine or the vaccination has to go straight to the mind. Now the vaccination which has to go straight to the mind, the way to take it to the mind is through the ears. So when we chant the holy names of the Lord through the ears, it goes to the mind. Mind is not where the brain is. Mind is actually, according to Shastra, in the region of the heart. When these holy names enter into the region of the heart, and when we are able to give our full attention through our mind, at that point in time, the mind purifies. When the mind purifies, the desires purify. So the golden rule is that we must focus on the sound vibration through our mind. There's no need or prescription given by scriptures and our acharyas to think about something else. No, one can one can feel that if I think about Krishna's Leela during that time, if I think about devotional services, if I make devotional plans, chanting is the best time to make plans. And as soon as you finish your chanting, all those plans are also gone away like bird fly away from the balcony. So at that point in time, actually mind is fooling us. Mind is rebelling. Somehow or other, leave me because I want to do my own things. Why are you capturing me? Why are you purifying me? I am good like this. He's rebelling like a small child, you see. Therefore, it is very important that as soon as the mind goes somewhere, you bring it back to the chanting. Bring it back to the chanting because chanting is the most powerful way of purifying our mind. Therefore, at the time of chanting, we need not listen to our mind because mind will constantly speak. You are speaking from here, mind is speaking from the top. Both the things are happening simultaneously. We are winning when we are speaking and mind is listening. We are losing when mind is speaking and we are listening and we are not able to listen to chanting, right? And therefore, at that point in time, we have to be the winner against the fight with mind during chanting. And then in due course of time, mind will get subdued. And then the senses will become like a snake without any poison teeth. And they'll get subdued. And that's how a pure devotee will have purified mind and pure senses. That's how one can come to a perfection of chanting. Chanting is the process from namabhas chanting to clear chanting to pure chanting. And when you come to pure chanting, when you chant one name of the holy name of the Krishna, you feel the joy. You feel so much of happiness. Because we are not feeling that, therefore we know that we are not at a stage of pure chanting. We must be at the stage of Namabhas chanting. We are doing a lot many aparadh. There are 10 offenses to chanting. So we have to be careful about these aparadh that we are doing. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, so if we are not humble, we will not be able to chant. We will chant, but these are sound vibrations. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. They will not have impact on our consciousness. They will not have impact on our mind. So when these qualities manifest consciously in us, and all these things go together hand in hand, and that's how you gradually, after some time and after a long time, you cleanse all of these things in your heart by the practice of controlling the mind on the chanting of sound vibration of the chanting of the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, Mataji, is that satisfactory?
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Okay, it's already 9 o'clock. Thank you for being together for this long, and I hope to see you next week again on Thursday. Everybody, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Jai Shri
Thank you so much,
Krishna. Hare Krishna to everybody.